Christmas is so close, it's time to get your wrapping finished up and your shopping done. I'm going to show you some little gift wrapping tips. One, I said this before and I say it again. I recommend boxes. Save all kinds of boxes to stick awkward stuff in. It's so much easier to wrap a rectangular prism or a cube than it is to wrap a cylinder or a cone. So what you do is, I already pre-cut this, and what you want to do is you want to take your piece, whatever the front is, and stick that on the bottom of the wrapping paper. And that way when you close it in the back, all the tape and the lines are all in the back where the person can't see it, like this. And I also recommend this metallic type wrapping paper unless you're wrapping a present for a doggy. They kind of have a hard time ripping through that. But this tape comes off so that if you accidentally get some stuck on there, it comes off and it doesn't rip the paper or the color design. And I'm going to show you how to wrap this little end. I'm going to move the camera down. Okay, here we go. So make sure the box doesn't move, hold it in place, and you want to fold the back part where you have the tape in, and then make a crease, and then fold that and make another crease, and do the same to the other side, make another crease, and then you're left with this little flap, and you're just going to fold the flap down. You're going to take your tape and hold it in place so that you have this little end like this, and then you just do the same thing to the other side. If you have too much for you personally to work with, you can just cut it off. As you can see, I'm having a bit of problems with this piece, but just fold it in while you're folding, but all should end up being okay. Alright, here we are. Just push down and then fold. And if you have a little end like this, just fold it down and hold it down with some tape. And I have some right here. So this. And then you just need a little bit just to hold that little flap down, unless that doesn't bother you. But then you have a nice present wrapped like that. Other things you can do is you can cheat wrap like my brother does. This is one of my brother's presents to my mom, and he Tootsie Roll wraps stuff. He uses about 2 or 3 pieces of tape to keep it wrapped, and it's for stuff that he just doesn't know how to wrap or he can't find a box for. So you can always do that, and it looks kind of cute like a Tootsie Roll. I also recommend getting ribbons because I think that it just adds accent to a present, and presentation is important to a present because I think it puts more time and even more effort into the present, and you know, it shows a little more thought. Now I know a lot of people don't agree with me. They don't care to spend money on ribbons like this or like this one, which I recommend, the little curly Q ones, and I'll show you why in a minute. Because they're like, oh, you're just ripping it off anyway. And you are, this is true, but I think that presentation for presents is important, at least to me. Now, if somebody gives me a present that doesn't have a lot of ribbons and stuff, I don't think any less of the present, but I think it puts a little bit more effort into it. But if you don't care to do that, there's certainly no requirement. Now, these little bows are certainly, you can get them for really cheap, and a whole lot of them in different sizes, colors, and you know, satin, matte, shimmer, glittery, whatever you want. And I think that these are really cool because if you just have a present that you just have wrapped with no thing, you can just stick a bow on there, maybe not quite one this big for a present this small. But it's like the effort's there without expending a lot of time, kind of a thing. So it's still giving it presentation in a really quick way. A quick tip for bows like this that have the little adhesive in, which almost all of them, I have not seen one in years that hasn't had one of those. But what I recommend is you take a little bit of tape, because sometimes this adhesive just does not work as well as it should. And you just take this little flap and push it down and put the tape on it like that, and then push the tape down with it. It prevents the bow from you squishing the bow down, and it keeps the bow in place, and the adhesive If the adhesive gets loose, that won't really matter. The tape will help hold that down, and it also helps over long trips. So say you get a whole bunch of these bows, and then you run out. Well, what do? You cheat. This is where these kind of ribbons come in handy. You take a strip of ribbon, and then you just fold it like a bow, however big you want your bow to be. And then you do one of these, and you can make it as small or as large as you want, of course. Oh, it's not working. Goodness. You know, it worked fine before I put it on video, but the minute you go to make the video, like so. And then you just make your two little ribbon ends match. So just snip. Just snip. And then whatever way is going to be the front of your bow, have the back part of the stapler go on there, and then just find your place, and came off. The good thing is this thing has like little memory creases, so it'll be easy to fix a mistake like that. But you just stick it on there and staple, and that way the big staple part, oh, it didn't even go in. Oh well. It works usually. You might have to do it a couple times, but not usually. Usually it's a lot better than that. But that way you can't really see the staple, whereas you can see the staple on this side. But wherever way's the back, and then you just tape it on your present. That way you have a bow there still, but you didn't have to run out and get more of these. Another thing you can do, like I've done for this present here, is, especially for little presents like this, sometimes it doesn't make sense to me to get some of these bows. Even the small little bows seem to overpower the main part of the present. And so what I like to do is I like to get these little already like curlicued ribbons, and that way you do about 2 or 3 snips, so 2 or 3 sections of this little curlicue stuff, and then you tie it. And then you tie just knots. You go one way and then across and then again the other way, and you end up with this little bounce of ribbons. And so it still looks nice, like it has bow and presentation, without using a whole bow like this or having to try and find really tiny bows like this to put on there. Yes. So I hope you enjoyed, and I hope that your holidays are merry. I hope I'm not forgetting anything. Oh, keep all your scraps. Keep all of your scraps of wrapping paper. That way if you misjudge the back end and you end up with a little like space, if you do it all in the back and you just take a little strip of the scrap paper and just tape it on there, the person won't know, and they probably won't care unless they're really, really persnickety type people, but most of the time they won't care, they won't even see it. They're going to be looking at the front and not the back. So, happy holidays. Feel free, of course, to use these tips no matter what it is you're celebrating, or anniversary, whatever time you're wrapping presents, birthdays, and such. And yes, Merry Christmas and happy wrapping.